started week two with a good game, good decent. If you have it, Herbert, you're good money. He gave you another gem. The interception sucked because it was right there at the goal line, but gave you a little gem. Pat did Pat things. It wasn't a monster scoring game, but he didn't hurt you. Nothing too crazy. I hate Juju. I hate
Pat
MVS.
got Pat got lucky because As-
Hate him.
hold on,
He
Asante
did.
caught that
He
interception.
did.
We can agree,
He did.
right?
That was a pick. Asante dropped another pick six.
Like that's an
It's a,
interception.
it's an
I don't.
interception everywhere. Des called it. That's an interception. Um,
Oh. Wait. I just have to point out that while everyone in the draft community knew Asante Samuel was the best available corner in the second round last year, the Dallas Cowboys, the geniuses in charge, took Kelvin Joseph, who to this point has played what like 4 games ever, and was involved in a like drive-by shooting or whatever the hell happened over the summer. Why did they
it's
do
gonna be
this?
it's gonna be
Because
one of those.
Asante
Okay,
Samuel was 2 inches too short.
it's
Like,
gonna be one of those.
how about who can play football? Draft people who can play football.
It's
Sick of
gonna be one of
this.
those nights.
Sick of this. I'm
Okay.
sick of Jerry. I'm sick of Steven. I swear. Uh, my dislike for these dudes is so strong. I know we here for fantasy, but I'm so
It's gonna be
irritated.
one of those
I'm
nights.
so
Okay.
irritated with these dudes. They got the nerve to come out and be like, well, CD got to get open against triple coverage. The fuck is wrong with this dude? Like, what? Y'all let the best receiver on the team go for a fifth
Uh,
out of sheer cheapness. There was no reason behind it. So now Amari running ridiculous routes, running wind sprints in
yes,
Cleveland because Jacoby Brissett
yes,
is still Jacoby Brissett.
yes,
CD seeing triple coverage like, man, I knew it'd be
yes.
different, but I didn't know it'd be this. Now the
Everybody wants
QB is
CD.
gone. And the people who put this together are blaming everyone else. Jerry's blaming Steven. Steven's blaming the team and CD. McCarthy, this man had the nerve to throw Kellen Moore under the bus
He did.
in the same week that he admitted after 2 seasons he does not know the verbiage of our offense.
He does not. He
He
does
can't
not.
call plays because he doesn't know the language. How is this possible? This is a $1 billion business, and it's a bunch of buffoons.
I got to give him the solo. I got to give you the solo on this one. I
Nah,
don't need to
no,
be.
I'm done.
I gotta
I'm
give you
so irritated with
I
these
gotta
dudes,
give you the
man.
ISO. Sometimes you
I'm
gotta clear
so
out.
I'm so irritated.
Sometimes you gotta clear out,
Nah,
yo.
nah. Like, bruh, it's been like 20. Is it 27 years,
I had to give you the ISO.
dude? The
Oh
last
Lord.
time they won. I was 9 years old. I turned 36 this week. B, shit's real out here. B, I'm
Papa's
tired,
still alive.
man. All I want is competence. I don't even
Papa's
need a
still alive,
Super
man.
Bowl. That's the issue. I don't even need a Super Bowl. I just need competence. Act like you know what you were doing. Damn, I just ran it for like 3 minutes, man. My bad. I had to get some shit off my chest. I clearly had to get some shit off my chest,
I've been
man.
listening to Cowboys Pain
All
all
right,
night,
let's
man.
rock
This
for
is
real.
my
Let's
favorite Friday I've had
nah
in
nah
a
let's
long
let's
time, yo.
let's rock for real, man. Let's get
Yo,
into this.
this
Let's get
day
into
just
this.
perked up, man. Quick touch on last night. Obviously, we talked about Herbert. Partial rib cartilage fracture, something like that, day to day. They got extra time. Sounds like he'll
Dude, that
play,
hit was real.
but that hit was
That
real, and
hit
then he
was
took a
real.
couple, and then he took a couple after as well. So seems like he'll be all
So,
right. Flak
yo,
jacket's
big
coming.
ups to Justin Herbert, man, because I know he was that tough. Because
That fourth down throw, that
man,
laser he threw to get to the goal line with the
it,
injury.
the on third down, he looked broken. He
Yeah,
legitimately looked broken on third
he
down
he
because
he,
he
he
could have
couldn't
ran
run
for
for the
that first.
first.
Under normal
Yeah,
circumstances, no, under normal circumstances, he runs for that first, and it's not as dramatic or whatever. That's a tough dude. Big ups to him. And they didn't win. I don't believe in moral victories, especially when you get paid. Moral
they're
victories
very good.
are for
My,
children,
Mourner victories are for
but that
minor
is
league
as
coaches.
close to a moral victory as you're going to get. That is as close to it. They went out and, for the most part, they outplayed the Chiefs, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. A lot of Asante. Samuel Jr. drops that pick six in the end zone. The Chiefs get the pick six coming
Yeah,
out the other way. The margins. It's all about the little margins, man. And
the
the
margins are
NFL
thin,
and
especially in fantasy, because
especially in
some
fantasy.
things went a little. I don't know
As
what
an
to make of
Austin,
Austin Eckler right now.
I
Like
don't either. He
he
scored
he
18
scored, he
PPR
got his
points.
points, he got his points,
Yeah. It
hmm
feels weird. It feels odd.
and yet
Um, it just like
it didn't
he
feel
we,
like
we
running
talked
back
about it.
one usage.
Right. We talked about it. He should have a 20-point floor in that offense. You see it. The path to a 20-point floor is very, very clear in that offense. And he hasn't cracked 20 points. He got a bunch of touches late yesterday. He carved out 18 points for himself, but it just the goal
Because
line
that's what
work.
Eckler does. He has a
That's what he
high floor.
does.
He has a super
He
high
does.
floor. He has a super high floor. It's great,
Right.
but
It's just
Sony Michelle
Sony
getting goal line
Michelle getting
carries.
touches, Joshua Kelly getting touches. They haven't even used Isaiah Spiller yet because they didn't even dress him. Like things are going to get very interesting for Eckler. I do think he's going to produce very, very, very well because that offense is great and he's their
I
best
agree.
back.
I
I
agree.
just don't know if that spooky, oh, I need 40 from Eckler tonight. Can I get it to win this game is ever going to happen this year?
I I'd go as far as to say he is, other than Herbert, he is their best offensive skill player, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams included. The
Agreed.
fact that getting him the ball doesn't seem to be the focus is odd to me because he seems
It's
so
very
much
weird.
better than everybody else.
It's
That's
very weird.
all.
It's very weird. Um, Mike Williams looked great. If you had Mike Williams, congrats. We saw that coming. No Keenan. Mike
hmm
Williams looked wonderful. Gerald Everett, who I've talked about,
Mike Williams,
looks
after a
effortless.
terrible game, after
Yeah, it's
Gerald
Mike.
Everett looked
Yeah,
really good last night.
yeah, yeah. I like Gerald Everett a lot moving forward, even still, because that Herbert is a guy who you want throwing the ball to you. So everyone in that offense, just start him. You'll be perfectly fine. If Keenan is out, Mike Williams takes a jump up. You can look at Josh Palmer. He had a good game. Little things like that. Um, other side of the
In a
ball
deeper league, if you're in a
in a
10 team
deeper
league,
league,
you don't need
you
to
don't
look
worry
at
about
Josh
Josh
Palmer.
Palmer.
Just to be
No.
clear.
Other side of the ball, Pat is Pat. Kelsey with a quiet game, but he'll do that from time
But
to time.
the thing with Kelsey is it's almost unreasonable what's expected of him because of where he goes in drafts because
Right,
it's a 10-point game from a tight end, which is really all you can ever ask for.
right.
And yet from Kelsey, that feels like such a letdown. Yeah,
It feels like a
because you
letdown.
expect wide receiver one production from him. So
Right,
it was a
right,
strange game. From a fantasy
right.
standpoint, it was a very, very strange game.
It
Except for
was.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think I believe. During the summer, I said
Yeah.
I don't want to do it again because I've been bitten the first 2 years, but he is finally looking the way that I expected him to look, both as a runner and a pass catcher.
Okay.
And chances are, if you drafted him in a spot where he is going to be excellent value because he looks like a strong running back two caliber player right now, especially with the way he's being used in that offense without Tyreek.
Okay. Yeah, I mean he's getting the touches. Isaiah Pacheco 6 yards last night. Obviously, he's not cutting into the time. You got some Jerick McKinnon in there, but they want to use those type of guys.
You did.
Clyde is the guy
Which
they
is
want to use though.
CH he can't be a true workhorse. He's not built for
No,
that at this level.
no, he's
Just
not.
from a physicality does matter at a certain point unless you're Barry Sanders. Um, but if he is getting 15 touches a game in that offense, he is a running back too. Like that's just what
I
it's
agree.
going to be.
I agree.
He's going
I
to
agree.
face nothing but soft boxes with Pat around. Like they're not going to stack the box with Pat around. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Chargers defense is real. Don't worry about Pat. The game week one wasn't a fluke. That Chargers defense is legit. Derwin James is a monster. Nick Bosa's a monster. Joey Bosa's a monster. Khalil Mack is still
Oh,
very,
oh,
very
oh,
good
oh,
at
oh.
his
Real,
job.
real quick, real quick, real quick. That hit from Derwin James was just
He's a bad man.
disrespectful. That
He's a
wasn't
bad man.
necessary, man. That was not
Derwin is a bad
necessary.
man. Derwin is a bad man. Simple things today. We're just gonna go through a couple games, pick out who obviously we think we should start. check on a couple little things. That's it. Get you ready for your weekend, man. Week 2, if you're coming off of a
Absolutely.
loss, don't freak out. It's gonna be fine, unless it's not. But then you'll
It's
figure
too
it out from
early.
there. It's too early to worry about these
Or
things.
you
Coming
or
off
you
a
won.
win,
Or you
or you
won't.
won't. That's it.
You might not
Or your
listen to
team's not
us.
it.
You might not listen to us, and then you won't. Yeah, and you know
That's basically
that's
it,
on
man.
you. I like winning, so you should
I
listen to
really
me.
enjoy it. I really enjoy winning. I really do. It makes me happy. Um, and then if you're coming off a win, man, just keep it going. Don't get too comfortable. If things are working right, make sure you're still doing the work. Act like you're still having to put the grind in. Don't just say, "Oh, this team cooked week 1. This is how it's all going to be." You're not scoring 180, 200 points in the normal scoring. Sometimes it happens. Always be working.
Or you
So we're here to
drafted
work
one
for you.
hell of a team. You know,
Some of us did, man. Some of us are doing some good things. Some of us are struggling, or we're both doing both. You do enough leagues, you're doing some of both. So we'll figure. But here we are. Let's hop straight into the worst
be
game
back.
ever. Good lord, I see this Jets Cleveland. Um,
So I don't
quarterback.
think that's terrible. We're only talking from a fantasy standpoint. From a fantasy
Yeah,
standpoint,
but
that game is rather interesting because
is it
there are a
okay?
lot of interesting players that you
Where do you?
might want to play, but won't feel necessarily feel confident playing.
In a two quarterback league? Let's say you're in a 12 team two quarterback league. Are you starting Brissett or Flacco? Do you want to be doing that? Are
Absolutely
they
not. No,
23, 24?
quarterback. They're like 31, 32. Nah, no, no, absolutely
That's all I
not.
was saying.
Starting,
That's what I'm
yo,
saying.
yo, if you're
But
starting Brissett or Flacco in week 2, something
it's
went
tough.
terribly wrong in your
It's
draft.
tough. It's
Now,
tough.
what I mean is, what I
I'm
mean
playing
is,
against a dude in the
there.
league who's starting
Okay,
Flacco, and
okay.
I'm
So
gonna lose.
Pete,
Watch he throws
like,
for 4. So
let's say you drafted Amari Cooper and say
Mhm.
the 8th or 9th round.
Right.
You played the slow game on receiver because receiver was going to stretch, and Amari was at the top of your stack. How do you feel about it this week? His production last week was awful.
It was terrible.
The cut-ups say he dominated last week, and Brissett just couldn't get him the ball. Like the guy
Right.
ran some unbelievably crisp routes
He
and
is
had
very,
all
very
sorts of
good at that.
separation and wasn't getting the ball. So if they spent the last week telling Jacoby, like, yo, this guy needs to be your first read, could be interesting this week.
It could be interesting.
12 targets from a bad quarterback is still
That's a
12 targets, for
lot of
example.
targets, man.
But,
Goodness.
but if he has another week like last week,
Oh
it
yeah, panic
might be
button.
panic time. And that's not because Amari's a bad player, but Jacoby Brissett is Jacoby Brissett. How do you feel about both the Cleveland running backs? Like, do you feel
Oh, I
complete
love him.
confidence in both? I feel confident in both. But if
Absolutely.
you're a little like, that Kareem Hunt thing might have been his touches weren't off the charts. He was just incredibly productive with them. They were just interesting pieces. Like on the Jets, I find Corey Davis more interesting than I thought I would, just from a standpoint of while Flacco's there, if Flacco considers him his number one wide receiver, he's very
He's gonna
interesting.
produce.
Same token, I think Elijah Moore is incredibly talented. I just find this to be a really interesting game of people that you don't want to play, but you might have no better option than playing, depending on what you drafted.
You got to keep an eye out. You absolutely got to keep an eye out. Especially that Jets backfield is interesting. Michael Carter, Brees Hall. Carter had the lion's share last week. I don't know if that's how it's going to continue, but we told you the Brees Hall stuff was very odd coming in. How high people were taking him because Michael Carter is young and
Versus
very,
Michael,
very talented.
and he's good. He's
He's
good. He's legitimately a good player. He's a good
so
player. He's a good football player.
So yeah, I mean, you're starting your Jets running backs if you have them. You're obviously starting the Cleveland running game. I think Cleveland runs
In
the
an
ball really
ideal
well here.
situation, you want them to be flex. You
Yep.
want the Jets running backs to be flexes, not you don't want to be plug. Ideally, now if you drafted and you have to plug them in at running back 1 or 2, so be it. But hopefully you have a situation where you can plug them in at a flex spot.
Washington at Detroit is one of the games I'm looking forward to the most fantasy wise. Because the way Carson Wentz looked last week versus the way that we know Detroit can garbage time themselves into 30 points, this is going to be fascinating fantasy wise. I think there's a path for Amon Ra to be a top 5 wide receiver this week in fantasy. I just see he's
Oh,
getting the
for this
target
week.
share.
Okay, I thought you were about to say for
Yeah.
the season. Mhm.
No.
He
We're not
is.
drinking too much tonight. That target share is legit in Detroit. I think he's going to be perfectly
It
fine getting
is.
all his targets all night, and I think he'll be okay. DeAndre Swift obviously is a monster. Hawkinson, I think, gets off the snide a little bit. I think we get some good Hawkinson. The other side of the ball, what do you feel in Washington? Brian Robinson's looming. How many more Gibson games are we getting?
Depends how good the Gibson games are.
Okay.
Like he puts together 2, 3 more games like he did week one, and I'm not necessarily saying he's going to produce quite to that level, but if he looks that
Right.
good, you feel a little bit better about telling Brian Robinson to take his time coming back. Gibson was honestly one of the biggest surprises of week one to me. I thought he looked excellent. I couldn't make sense of the fact that he was on kickoffs if this is how he looked all summer. But I'm not at practice. For all I know, he looked awful in practice and just turned it on when the games were on. Um,
Yeah.
but he looked great. He looked like a legitimate high caliber running back. The Carson Wentz thing, I think the dude is terrible. I think he is truly terrible. But I see a path to him being super productive week in, week out, just throwing YOLO balls and those wide receivers catching enough of them to put up good numbers. But the dude sucks. Like
Yeah,
he
he's
threw
not good.
maybe the worst interception I've seen in a calendar year. Like that was awful.
He's
And it
not good.
wasn't his only awful interception, but the numbers are the numbers, and he put them up. So, congrats to him and to the person who said Carson Wentz over Aaron Rodgers from a fantasy standpoint. Congrats to that gentleman, wherever he may be.
It's 1 week, man. But Rogers got something catching up to do. I will say that. Rogers got to chase him. We're off to the races already. Um, Obviously you're starting Terry McLaurin. How do you
Rodgers is
are
about to run a 5 wide receiver set with just running backs. Like, that
with
dude is
two
tired.
backs.
He is
With two
tired.
running backs. He's gonna have two
That
slot
man,
guys as running
that man
backs,
is
yo. He's
tired,
sick of it. Oh
bruh.
man. Obviously you're starting Terry McLaurin, Joshua Dotson. Are you starting him as a flex? Are you happy with that 10-12 team league?
I
Jahan
am happy
Dotson.
to have him on my. I am happy to have him on my roster. I think he is a very interesting player that could be playable later. Do the way I play, do I trust it based on the 1 week? No, but he looked good. He is a very interesting player. I would absolutely have tried to. In most of the leagues I'm in are pretty deep, and they have Washington fans, so he was snapped up. But in a more conventional league, I would have probably targeted him on waivers this week. So I think he's an interesting play. If you have no better option, sure. I don't think in week two you should have no better option. But
Right.
if he produces this week, I start to look at him like, hey, is he just a plug-in flex? I don't have to worry about it week to week. That's what I'm looking for. If he gives good
I think
numbers
that's
this
fair.
week, or more to the point, if he looks like a more than a bit player within that offense this week, regardless of where the production looks, I think it becomes very, very interesting.
I dig. That makes sense. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. This gets interesting for me because no Chris Godwin. I think the Russell Gage payoff comes here. You'll get a nice, decent floor out of Russell Gage. Um, Mike Evans, obviously, you're playing.
But
Julio looked
He's playing, but he's Julio. He looked
Julio
good,
looked
but
okay.
he's questionable again because
He's
that's what
questionable. They're
Julio
all
is at this point in
questionable.
his career.
All those wide receivers are questionable. That's going to be weird
Each
in
and every
Tampa
one.
Bay all year. Fournette questionable. Like, I don't. Obviously, you're going to play all these guys, but Brady. Brady looking like I don't know if I should have did this, man. Like Brady's got that little. I don't know if I should have came back face.
Look. Look, I'm not here to get in that man's business. It
Right.
makes no difference to me. But if the things that are being reported are to be believed, that man damn sure shouldn't have been doing this. What are you doing, dog? Go home and be a family man.
Go home, be a fan.
You
Guile
better
told you
buy
that,
you a
bro.
minivan. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell's wrong with you?
Colonel Guile told you to go home and be a family man. All you gotta do is listen. Um, the New Orleans
You
side is
45,
interesting.
bro.
Just
Hey,
stop. You're 45.
you
You're
45, fam.
rich, and you can just do a podcast from your den, bro. Just do a podcast from your den and get paid. Like I don't know what we're doing here. Um.
Nah, he got the what is it like 380 mil coming from?
Oh, that's
I want
right.
to say
They gave him.
Fox. Uh,
They gave him
yeah,
like
you're gonna be working a
like
day
10 years,
a week
200 million
to
or
make more
something
money.
silly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna make more money to work 1 day a week than he is to take rib shots, and he is still playing. I don't do love doing anything that much. God bless him,
Nope.
but you better
Nope.
go home and be a family man and get this money.
And get
But
paid.
he
Yeah,
didn't
keep
look good
Giselle
last.
happy.
He didn't look good last. He didn't look
He
good
did it.
last week. I don't
He
know if it
didn't.
was rust. I do think the Dallas has a a pretty good defense. Not great, but a
I agree.
pretty good defense. So but they moved the ball, but they couldn't score.
Yeah.
Brady is generally such a surgeon in the red zone that it bears watching if his red zone production takes a serious dip. But if you have Tom Brady, you're going to plug him, you're going to play him, you're going to trust him because he's Tom Brady.
Because he's Tom Brady. The New Orleans side, I think you can get away with playing Jameis here. Jarvis Landry was super interesting last week with how much volume he got. I really like Jarvis in this offense if that's how he's going to be. Michael Thomas looks like he was back. I think you're playing everyone in this game, until you see him
I'm
different. I think
not
you're
playing
playing all your
Olave.
guys.
If you took Olave, I'm not playing Olave, but
Okay.
whatever. Like I'm not going to knock you if he's a flex, but I probably wouldn't want to plug him in this week.
Okay.
I do
I
love
feel you
Jarvis
there.
as well.
Okay.
I do love
Gotcha.
Jarvis as well.
Carolina at the NFC East division leading New York Giants. Um, McCaffrey,
I actually, this is maybe my favorite game from a fantasy standpoint. Just from a fantasy
Mc,
standpoint, because
Saquon and
McCaffrey,
McCaffrey, man.
Saquon. If you tell me they finish 1-2, if they both stay healthy, I won't be shocked. Like
Let's just watch
the
McCaffrey
McCaffrey thing,
Saquon,
I want
man.
to see if there's an I want to see if there's an uptick in his touches.
Yes.
There is something to be said for him being used a bit less and staying fresh and being able to play week to week. But McAdoo all week sounded as though he looked up and was like, "Why didn't I give my best player the ball more?" And that's why we lost to bum ass Cleveland.
Right.
That's the way he sounded all week. So
Yeah.
if CMC is about to get CMC traditional CMC like touches, he's going to have the Giants have a linebacking core that can deal with him in any way, whether we're
We
talking in the
don't.
run game or we're talking him getting out in the pass. And
We don't.
if you bring a safety in the box first, a safety's not going to have much more success against him, but that also opens things up for DJ Moore downfield, which in
It does.
theory, you know, I don't want to play Baker, but if you're in one of those deep leagues where you have a super flex or a 2 QB, Baker becomes interesting this week because I
He
actually
does.
think that Giants deep.
The Daniel Jones led NFC East leading Giant passing game is trash. I need y'all to understand that we won garbage. Like no, like if we got Shep, as long as Shep is out there, you start Shep. Any of these other wide receivers don't even just don't
Is
even do it.
Kadarius Tony going to get more work? Because
That
he's the one
maybe
other player that would be interesting long term. But what did he play? 8 snaps? That's strange.
give the ball to
That's odd
Saquon.
to me.
Get the ball to
8 snaps
Saquon.
is odd.
If you get
A
anything
lot.
from Kadarius Tony, that's cool. Give the ball to Saquon. Daniel Jones might luck into a couple TDs. Throw them to Saquon. Just get the ball to Saquon. Spell him with Matt Breida. until Saquon says, "All right, man, I guess," and then put Saquon back in the game. That's the only way we're going to be 2-0, and I just want 2-0, but protect Saquon at all costs. This is you know what? Now that I
Absolutely.
realize that Jets in Cleveland, this next game is the yuckiest game for me. New England at Pittsburgh. Gross.
That's gross.
Mac Jones, gross. Don't start him. Trubisky, gross. Don't start him. Ramondre season now. Ty Montgomery's on IR. Ramondre's gonna have to throw the ball to Ramondre,
I
please. So I
consider
don't look
this
like.
a very big game for Robinson. Like I consider this a big game for him. Like this is
I
the sort
agree.
of situation where
I agree. If
Damian
it doesn't
Harris. The
happen,
thing is, Damian Harris
ugh,
isn't bad.
he's
So
not. He's
if
not.
Damian Harris actually looked pretty decent last week, so if he looks
That
pretty decent
offense
again this week and that becomes
sucks.
50-50, I don't want a 50-50
No.
either running back. I don't think either of them are playable because I don't think that offense is good enough to sustain two running backs. So Ramondre having a good game, especially out of the backfield, it would be ideal, but I'd be lying if I said I expect it. I think he'll be all right. I feel comfortable with him as a flex, but
I
I'd
do
be
too.
almost like crossing my fingers that it goes the way I hope, you know?
Um, Ramondre Stevenson or Damian Pierce this week.
Stevenson, strongly, very strongly.
Um, Stevenson or Burkhead.
I'd probably want to play Stevenson because if I have him on my roster, I made an investment where I expected him to be my flex, and I can be a bit stubborn early in the season. I don't like to panic. That being said, say I do a DFS and up on make some money. I like the situation. I feel safer about the situation for Burkhead this week. Um, the Texans aren't going to be good. They're going to be down
Right.
big in this game, and once they are down, it's Burkhead season. He is going to be their pass catching running back. If he is
Right.
also getting the lion's share of the carries, there's nothing to discuss. I think Burkhead's actually fairly interesting this week. Not necessarily expecting a big game, but if he gets you 15 points this week, you shouldn't feel shocked. Like this game might line up very well for him. Long term for the season, I'd much rather have Stevenson, but this week I'd probably lean Burkhead a bit, ever so slightly.
Okay. I think I agree completely there. Stevenson or a guy from our next game. We got Indy at Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have Stevenson or ETN this week?
Look, I'm stubborn as hell. ETN's my guy. That's my Haitian brethren. James Robinson looked absolutely amazing last week. Don't get me
He
wrong,
did.
he looked absolutely amazing. But on two separate drives, very well should have ended with ETN pass catches for a touchdown.
Agreed.
First, there was an overthrow, then there was a bad drop. If, and this is a big if, but if ETN is getting, let's say, 40% of the carries and about 50% of the passing game work out of the backfield, I'd rather have him this week than Stevenson.
I agree.
And that's what I
I agree.
expect, to be clear. That's what I expect. I'm just higher on ETN than I am on Stevenson. I think he's a more talented player. And the investment they made in him, they're going to give him the ball. Even if Robinson is getting the ball plenty as well, Stevenson will get the, or excuse me, ETN will get the ball plenty.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously load up Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor's that dude. Load him up. Um,
Yeah, if you have those guys, you're not thinking about that
yeah.
all season at any point.
No,
Like you're just
no,
going to
you don't
start
worry about
week
that.
after week, and
Um,
they're going to produce week after week.
Christian Kirk, I think is one of those guys too. If you have him, load up Christian Kirk. Obviously, they want to get him the
Christian
ball.
Kirk,
I love Christian Kirk this year, man. I wish I had more
70,
stock in Christian Kirk.
72, 72 million. They didn't
Follow
spend
the
that
money.
money for nothing. 72
Follow the
million.
money.
And he's
Um,
good. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player. Like they're not just throwing it to him because
yeah, one
there's
hundred
a reason
percent,
they paid him. Like he's a good player.
100%. Miami at Baltimore. This is a fun one. This is a fun one. We've got. How do you feel about Tua here? You're obviously starting your big guys. You're starting your Lamars, your Waddles, your Tyreeks. You're going to start Bateman because he's your guy. Andrews. How do you feel about Tua? Are you starting Tua
I
this
wouldn't
week?
want to. I wouldn't. If you're in a two quarterback league and you have Tua, you probably have no
You're fine
choice.
starting him.
Like
Yeah.
he's going to be better than your third option if you have a third option. In a traditional league, I don't want anything to do with Tua. Um, Miami won last week. The players that you expected to be productive were productive. So, from a fantasy manager standpoint, you are completely happy with how that game went, unless you were starting
Yep.
Tua. But watching that game, he looks like Tua.
He looks like Tua. Looks like Tua.
He
He
looks
threw a
like
slant to
Tua. Like
Jalen
it's not
Waddle,
like
and Jalen Waddle is really fast. So
he's got a better team around him this year. So
yeah,
I do think Miami can be successful. But Tua, he's a mid man. He's gonna get you your 15, 16 points. You're not going to
right.
be pissed off. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to think twice about it. He's a 40-degree day. That's in real life. That's in fantasy. That's just what he is. But that's a
Indeed.
fun offense if he can just deliver the ball on time where it needs to be. Now, look, Tyreek Hill talked all summer about how good Tua was. Then
Yeah.
there was a
Okay, bro.
play last week where he
He
was
texted Pat,
completely
"You up?"
wide open. He was completely wide open, and Tua skipped the ball to him. It had to be 10 yards short of Tyreek. And Tyreek looked so dejected. And then last night, after Pat makes that wonderful throw to that random wide receiver I had never heard of in my life, Tyreek on the tweets talk about Pat. May put the little emoji like he's his eyes watered. He's getting emotional thinking about it. Yes, this is what
Yes.
everybody said you was crazy for. Talking
Yes.
about Tua's as talented or more accurate than Pat.
Who are you talking to? Watch your
Like
mouth.
who? Like
Pat
stop
is
playing
in
in my
watch your mouth mode.
face.
Pat's in watch your mouth mode all year now. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
The
Don't ever
only
talk to
reason
me like this.
Tua will be their quarterback in a year is because they traded all their picks for Hill and they no longer have a better option.
Wow. Backfield Dobbins is going to make it. I'm not starting Dobbins. Give it a week. Let it see
I'm not
how it
starting
develops.
Dobbins. I'm not starting Kenyon Drake. I'm not
Nope.
exactly. I want to see how it looks. Quite honestly, if Dobbins gets a full workload, that is malpractice by Baltimore. There is no reason he
Yes.
should get more than 10 to 12 touches. And Kenyon Drake, he's Kenyon Drake. We've all had him at some point, which means we've all been disappointed by him at some point. Like whatever,
Right.
whatever. He's fine.
Uh, basically, basically. Chase Edmonds' usage was good. I think you'll find with Chase Edmonds there.
Chase Edmonds, if you have him as a flex, you feel great because it
I think you're
looks
good
like
there.
his
Yeah.
role in the offense is one that will be consistent, unlike his time in Arizona. If you have him as a running back too, you're hoping for maybe a bit more in the actual run game, just usage wise. You're hoping for it to remain consistent, but chances are, if you have a strong running back one, you'd still be fine. I like Chase Edmonds. He's a player that has absolute value. He's going to have value week to week this year for me.
Agree. Agreed. Atlanta at the Rams. Start Cordero Patterson. You're going to start Kyle Pitts because you have him. Obviously, you'll play Stafford. Allen Robinson, if he doesn't
The
make it happen
backup is not
here,
the backup's not the backup is not playing this week for Atlanta. I feel great about Patterson having
I feel
a
great about
big game,
Patterson.
not just a game, but a big game. Like this is going to be
Yeah,
one of those weeks where people start looking around like, hold up, he went for $6 in the auction, or he went in the eighth, ninth round. Why?
right,
Because if he has the
right.
role he had last year, he was a top 10 fantasy running back. And we came in this season, and Atlanta acted like they halfway didn't want to keep him.
Matchup
Fantasy
proof.
managers are acting like they didn't want to draft him. Meanwhile, he has only been productive once put in the role he probably should have been in for the past decade.
Right.
He's
And he's
been nothing
matchup
but
proof
productive.
from that role because they'll just get him the ball and he'll make plays. If Allen Robinson doesn't do it this week, I don't know if we see it. And I'm big on Allen Robinson. I still believe you think he's washed. I feel you. If it's not this week, I don't know when it
His
is.
quarterback mouthed the words on the field. He can't go get the ball. That is a problem because no matter, it doesn't even matter if he's actually washed. If Matt Stafford thinks he's washed, that's all that
Yeah, Cooper
matters.
Cup.
Because
Yeah, 19,
targets are king. Cooper Cup is going to
19,
do what he did, and we've
19
mentioned
Cooper
it
Cup
on the
targets.
waiver
Here we go.
show. Higbee getting 11 targets, I don't
Yeah,
expect
it
that from the
matters.
type
It
of player,
matters.
but him getting 11 targets and Robinson getting two, that's not nothing. That is
Right.
not nothing.
It's not.
And Akers,
This.
you can sit on my bench until you show that you're going to play. Akers is on the bench. You should not be playing Akers this week. You shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. This Darrell Henderson Akers thing is going to be interesting. Keep an eye out. Um, Seattle at San Francisco. Just play the
Okay,
guys
so
you
I
think
got
can
to
play.
ask you, how do
Nothing
you
is
feel
sticking
about?
out heavy
How,
here. What's up?
no. I got. How do you feel about Trey Lance?
I don't know. I don't know. They played in the swimming pool last week. So to me, the passing game goes out of the window. This is where we see where Trey Lance is going to be. They're at home. Kittle should be
So
back. You
we
got
saw
Debo,
Justin.
Ayuk. You
Look. We
have your
saw
guys.
we saw Justin Fields make some plays in that same environment. I'm not
He
saying
did.
either of them played great. Obviously, they did not play great. But Trey
We
just didn't.
saw
That
we
was the
saw
sort of game
Fields
where I
make
at least
plays.
wanted Trey to get busy with his legs.
Yeah, we saw Fields make plays, but Fields played a full year last year, and they were broken plays. They had them locked up. They're broken plays. He made something happen. So I'm. We'll see what goes on with Trey this week. Um, because Seattle's not. Listen, that Seattle
If
defense is
if
not good. They're not. Jamal Adams out for the year.
if
Now
Trey
you make plays.
if Trey does not produce this week and they happen to lose to a Seattle team we all expect to be bad despite what
We're
happened
gonna hear
Monday,
Jimmy G
the
stuff. We're
calls
gonna
for
hear
Jimmy
Jimmy.
G are going to be so real. And they were in the NFC Championship game. Trey, go ball, because
Yeah.
go ball. Like, please, just go ball out, because if you don't this week, it's going to get uncomfortable in that locker room.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
going to get
I.
uncomfortable if they lose. I don't think they'll lose
Debo.
though. I don't think they'll lose this
D,
game.
Debo's who I'm worried about with Trey because I've said Debo ceiling with Garoppolo is much different for me than it is with Trey Lance. I think Debo's going to produce. I just think I'd 100% rather Pittman. I'd 100% rather Higgins. I'd still rather over Debo. I think I'd rather Higgins over Debo, and
Okay,
Higgins is
okay,
the number two guy.
okay. So I'm not sure that I rather Higgins over Debo, but it's close to the point that I don't think that's a ridiculous statement. For this week, would you rather have Debo or would you rather have McLaurin? For this week, I'm not talking season long, just for this week.
Wow, that's a good one.
Because I like the
That
matchup for McLaurin in Washington this week.
that
And we
Detroit
were both
game.
down on McLaurin in the preseason, but he looked very, very good last week. He looked well. We knew McLaurin would look good. Carson Wentz at least looked like he could get the ball to McLaurin, and if he can do that, if Carson Wentz proves to be the best quarterback McLaurin has
You know what?
played with, and that's not a
I
high bar,
I probably still go
like I
Debo
believe Debo, but
because Elijah
I don't
Mitchell is
feel like
out.
I'm going to be shocked. I don't
Yeah.
think I
Because
would be shocked if I come in if we wake up Monday morning and McLaurin outproduced him, but I'd certainly play Debo. Like I'm not stupid. I'm just saying the Debo thing
yeah,
is he's
it's
gonna be
interesting.
good. Is he gonna be great? Is he gonna be great? That's the question. Is he gonna be great? And I don't know. But you gotta play him. Like
You got to
Debo's
play
gonna
him.
if you have
You
Debo
got to
on your
play him.
team, you paid an amount or drafted him high enough that you have to play him. I just don't feel quite as confident with Lance in there as I did with Jimmy, which is saying something because I don't think that much of Jimmy.
Yeah, yeah. I think with Elijah Mitchell being out, you're gonna get more Debo touches than you normally would. Like they're gonna do a bunch of these Debo jet sweeps. He's gonna get more carries. Plus, they're gonna get him out there. I think the floor for Debo is gonna be higher, and then you got the touchdown upside of Debo scoring, being their goal line back, and I absolutely see them doing that too. So
Are
I'd
you
probably take
are
Debo,
you
but you're gonna piece it together.
are you starting Jeff Wilson? Are you starting Jeff Wilson if you picked him up this week?
I'm not starting any San Francisco running back. If Jeff Wilson goes for 102
Yep.
touchdowns, cool, that makes sense. But Debo, maybe they say, you know what? Debo's our best running back right now, bro. Debo, go run the ball 15 times and we'll get you 5 targets as well. But I wouldn't be shocked there either.
I can't see them being that short sighted with Debo. I'd like to hope that they will not be getting that man anything more than 5 to 7
No,
carries a week. I
no,
think even
no.
that is a
Right,
high
that's all he
number,
needs.
but
That's all. That's all he would do. But
let the man just play
he's
wide
effective.
receiver sometimes. Like all those hits bother me. But
Right,
he's a big
right.
dude for a wide receiver, like a fit dude, I should say. That doesn't sound quite the way I intended it to. But if you've seen Debo, you understand what I'm saying. The way he is built is far more like a running back than it is a traditional wide
It
receiver.
is.
That being said, I still don't want my
He's
wide
not a running
receiver that
back.
I just paid all that money taking that
Yeah,
many hits,
he's not a running back. He's not a running back.
especially the ones between the tackles. Those are the ones that bother me, the between the tackle ones.
Yeah.
Get him outside, okay, fair enough.
Kenneth Walker is making his debut. We'll see. This is Rashad Penny's job, though. You sold me on Penny. I think he's going to eat very
It,
well.
it's still it's still I agree, but it'll still be interesting to see how that works.
Yeah,
Penny looked great on Monday. I
he
think
did.
that should be his job. But if Kyle Walker comes in and electrifies things in, say, 5, 6 touches, it becomes interesting in the season long sense. But for this week, you are absolutely starting Penny. Penny was one of the bargains of the draft. You should feel very good about yourself if you have him. He is going to be productive. Plug him, feel good about it. Even against
Yeah.
a tough defense, still feel good about
Cincinnati at Dallas. Cincinnati side of the ball is easy for me. You start all those guys who you drafted. Um, Dallas defense is very good, but you start those guys.
it. I
You're
like
going in
Hayden
there.
Hurst this week. I like Hayden
Okay.
Hurst this week. If you
Okay.
if you need somebody a flyer a tight end for this week,
Where? Hmm. I guess. Obviously, you're dropping the Dallas guys down a little bit. Where are you with Zeke and CD this week against Cincinnati?
CD, I think CD's in an impossible situation because this is sort of week where, with all the noise that's been circling around him in Dallas, you would normally say, okay, if CD has the stuff to be a true number one, this is the sort of week where he
Right.
has to show it. That Cincinnati secondary, it's fine. They don't have world beaters. Bates is just getting into. I mean, Bates being a safety, I mean, that's not really going to affect CD, but so much anyway. And he's just really getting into the rhythm of football after that holdout. That being said, it's also Cooper Rush. So CD is a low end wide receiver too, and you are hoping for the best. I don't know how you could possibly feel confident in it.
Okay.
Zeke, I think that Zeke has a glass ceiling as far as his floor this week. I mean, as far as the ceiling, I do think they are going to make it a point to get him at least 15 touches, so he is worth a play. But everything with Dallas players is wait and see and hope for the best, except for Schultz.
Okay.
Schultz, I love this week. Schultz is going to get so much work this week. If he gets double figure targets, don't be shocked. Schultz, that's going to be the first read consistently because those are easy
I agree.
throws, relatively speaking. His routes are all run between the hashes. With the amount of attention CD is getting without Amari there, Schultz is going to be matched up on linebackers far more than he should be. I love Schultz this week. I'm not really feeling anybody else, but if you have Zeke or CD, you got to play.
You got to play them. Houston at Denver. We talked about Damian Pierce already. Obviously, you're going to start Brandon Cooks. I like Nico Collins here as as someone to look at. I've liked Nico there. Um, Denver side, if Russ is going to cook, you cook against Houston at home, your home opener. Let's see what that unleashed Denver offense looks like now. Because now it has to be, now you want to see it. He week one having that Seattle game was tough. It's a lot of emotions going into it. I get it. They played well enough to win. Coach made a stupid decision not
He,
to go for a
they,
fourth and
they should
five.
have. They fumbled twice from the 1 yard
They
line.
fumbled
They
twice from
should
the
have
1 yard line.
like
They they should
twice
have won
from the
that game.
one.
So now we see. this unleashed offense here, home opener. They want to put the shiny new Russ toy to work and see what's going on here. So you're lining up all those guys. Hopefully Javante gets 65-35, 70-30, and then it pushes towards 80-20 by the middle of the year because that kid looks great.
I don't think it'll happen, but it should because he looks outstanding. Get him the ball. Get him the ball.
That's it. Just give him the ball. Arizona at Las Vegas is going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of points to me. Kyle,
Is
if
it?
Kyler, yeah, you know
Is
what? If
it?
Kyler,
Look, I
I
laughed at
know
you
I've
during the
been down
summer
on
when you
Kyler.
dropped Kyler. No, you did, and you might have been right because the thing that you said was it wasn't about talent. He don't seem like he loved football, and I
He
clowned you
doesn't
for it
seem
because
like he
I
loves
really don't
football,
give a damn if
man.
they like what they do. He
Right?
don't seem
It
like he
matters.
like football. That's what I didn't expect.
Oh,
You don't gotta love it, but you gotta enjoy it. Like at least to some
he'd rather
level,
be gaming.
he looks
He looks like he'd
so.
rather be gaming, dude. He looks like he'd rather be at home gaming. And that's legit. That's not like ha ha. He looks like he
Hey,
doesn't want to play. I don't want to play this, man. This is not like this is just where the money is.
so
I'm gonna get
so
it.
I gotta ask this question. I gotta ask this question, and we don't know this. I don't know Kyler. You don't know Kyler. What if baseball was his true love?
It is. I think he
What if
said
he's
that
just sitting
before.
around like, damn, I know I'm getting all this bread, and if I was playing baseball, I'd probably still be on a bus somewhere in bumfuck
Right.
Mississippi playing AAA, but maybe baseball just made him happy. He doesn't like he's on the bench and it's like they're struggling, but he doesn't seem like angry. It's not like that, oh, I ain't going out like this. He doesn't seem locked in where it's confident, where he's getting his teammates involved. He
He
just seems
doesn't.
like, damn, we got 3 more quarters before I can go to the crib and turn on whatever the kids play these days. I don't play
That's
anything
it.
but FIFA, so I really don't know what the kids play. But
He's probably Fortnite. You know how Kyle get down. So it's just like
like
it's
as
weird.
somebody who has stock in Kyler, I am. I've told you not to worry about 1 week, and Kyler puts up the sort of production where he might go for 30 this week. That's fair.
Right.
As somebody with stock in Kyler, the second he balls out, I am trying to get him off my team. Like real talk, I'm trying to get him gone. I don't like the look of it. I just don't.
No.
And they have this horrible defense, which should, in theory, lead to a lot of shootouts, and yet I don't. Something don't look right in Arizona. Sometimes when you see it, you know it, and that did
It looks
not look
bad.
right. That just did not look a home opener against
It looks terrible.
Mahomes, and you seem
Oh, it sounds.
uninterested.
Ugh. It looks terrible. It looks
And
terrible.
like Kyler's game weeks will always look pretty decent because he will put up some numbers. But if you were expecting top tier production on a consistent basis, I don't think that's what you're going to get from him this year. Despite the fact that he had a pretty decent game numbers wise last week, the way it looked concerns me. It just concerns me. I didn't like
I
the
agree.
feel of it. I didn't think it's passed the smell test. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I agree. Devontae Adams is about to go for like 12, 185, and 2 touchdowns against this defense. He's about to go insane.
Yo, his grandparents are attending the game and they've never seen him play live in the
Oh,
NFL.
he's about to
He's
go
going for 200. He's
stupid.
about to go, bruh. I
Ugh.
have him wide receiver one for reasons that have everything to do with off the field. Your grandparents, for the first
Yep,
time as a
yep,
professional, as long as he's been in the league, oh, he's about
yep,
to show out.
yep. It's about to get ugly.
He is going to show out.
It's about to get
Yes,
ugly.
yes, it
Oh my
is.
goodness. It's about to get ugly. This is going to be a good Derek Carr game because Devontae is about to go for 15, 205, and 3. So,
But I also like
yeah,
Josh Jacobs a lot this week because again, Arizona's defense is trash. Start
they're really
everybody.
bad.
Hunter
They're
Renfro, Darren Waller,
all
everybody
of them.
starts because they are terrible.
They're really bad on defense. Chicago at Green Bay Sunday night game. Start the Green Bay running backs. Everyone else
I don't feel
is
good about anybody else. I don't feel
terrifying.
good about anybody else.
Not anyone else. Obviously you have to start Rodgers. I get
Like
it,
if you
but
have Rodgers,
you got to
do you
start him
have to start him? Do
in a
you?
yeah,
Do you?
yeah. Because people
Do
still
you?
believe. Oh, listen, they saw week one last year. They were terrible week one last year. They got smoked. He won
We're not
MVP.
here. We're not here to tell. We're not here to tell people what they should or should. Or
You should
I'm
100%.
not here to tell people like what the consensus is. Like, if you have Rodgers, you are probably starting him. But I'm not going to act like it's above asking the question. We saw
You
Rodgers being below what was expected. Look. I still think Rodgers is an amazing quarterback and will likely put up numbers because he owns the Bears.
right.
But those wide receivers don't look ready. So the amount of my trust in Rodgers that rests on the back of Alan Lazard makes me very, very uncomfortable.
Alan Lazard, B.
Alan Lazard
Um,
can't be the key to everything. He can't
he
be.
can't. Um, yeah, I am 100%. Here's what I'm at. I'm starting Derek Carr over Aaron Rodgers this year. This week if I have him.
Yep,
I'm starting Carson Wentz
absolutely.
over him. I'm doing it. I'm
Come to the
starting
dark
Jared.
side, even though he's trash.
I'm 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 crazy. I'm starting Jared Goff over Aaron Rodgers. I'm starting him. I'm starting Jared Goff, bro. Alan
So I
Lazard,
won't be
man.
shocked if Goff outscores Rodgers this week, but I can't start Goff over Aaron Rodgers. I can't do it
I'm
because if
nuts.
I lose having started Rodgers, at least I'm like, man, that's trash, but whatever. If I lose starting Goff over Rodgers and
Yeah,
Rodgers
I hear you.
outscores
I hear
Goff by
you.
whatever, look,
I hear what you're
Mike
saying.
Boone, Stephon Diggs. I speak from
Don't get cute.
experience. Sometimes you just
Don't get
don't
cute.
get cute. Sometimes,
Don't
like
get cute.
yeah, like
Okay. You know what?
I'm down on Rodgers, but I'm not
Maybe
that
I'm
down.
not starting Jared Goff, but I'm saying Jared Goff will have more fantasy points than Aaron Rodgers this week. I absolutely believe it.
I can't say I disagree, but I can't
It-
do it. I can't do
It's
it.
nerve wracking. It's nerve wracking. Now we get to fun. Two Monday night games. You texted me this other. Two Monday night games in week 2 is goofy as shit. Like
Like
why?
maybe I wasn't paying enough attention, but on
I
this
didn't realize.
Monday, when the games didn't start at 7, I was like, "What the hell? We ain't got a second
Right.
game tonight." Then I remembered, like, "Oh, it's week 2," but then I forgot again. Then they do the commercial last night, and I'm like,
It's
"Why?
goofy. It's
This
goofy.
is dumb."
It's goofy. Steve, we appreciate you, baby. My man. Thank you.
Uh-huh. I'll appreciate Steve more when he.
Talk to me. Yo, Brendan, me and Steve are talking about the most ridiculous deal to do. It's about to get real to see. It's about to get real in a couple of days. It's about to get real because we just we come up with some goofy shit. You're gonna be like, "Yo, what's up with you, dog?" And I'm gonna be like, "I need." That's all I'm saying. Steve's my man. Steve, we appreciate you, my man. Um,
Hey,
but yeah, he
uh,
will appreciate you more if you just see his his
see,
reasoning to what he
see my
wants
side of things. Just like
you.
I'm not here to
um,
lead other people astray. I am always very, very straightforward about my logic
man,
and why I think it works for you as well. If you don't listen to me and then you lose because of it, that's on you. That's cool. That's
it's
cool.
like that. It's like that.
You know, it's a free country. You are free to
It's
make
like
the
that.
wrong decision. That's cool. That's fine.
Oh man, we are at the Monday night games. Two good ones. Tennessee at Buffalo. Start every Buffalo Bill you can all year because Josh Allen is going
Josh,
to try to
he's
destroy
that
everyone.
dude. He is him. He is
It's
him.
really
He's
it.
that dude.
He's
He's that
he's
dude.
going insane. This might be.
Is
Listen,
there anyone other than Henry you start for Tennessee? Like anyone?
no, not a soul, not a soul.
So the
That Buffalo defense is real.
one of the most randomly disappointed things to me last week, and this wouldn't disappoint anyone else. I don't even have this gentleman on any of my teams.
Woods got one
The
target, didn't he?
complete lack of production for Woods. Now I get it. First game off an ACL, trying to work him back, so on and so forth. I get it. One
Give him
target,
5 targets. Give him 5 targets
like
at least or something. It's gross. Don't start anybody except for Henry, and Henry's going to have a hell of a time against that defense in Buffalo. They're going to be down. They're going to be down like 38-10, and there's going to be no Henry to be
see,
seen.
but here's the thing. Henry's that dude that
He'll
look.
break one.
Week one didn't look quite ideal,
Right.
I don't know why. I think Henry's going to have a big game. All logic and stats suggest that he is. You should probably temper your expectations. I think he's going to have a big game this week because I think he's going to
He-
run angry, and I think he understands that for this team to be successful, he
Yeah,
has to
he
be
has to
that
do
guy.
it.
Like he
He had a
has to
monster
be.
game. He had a monster game against them last year. So he had 10 points
Listen,
week one last year, 52 points week two.
but
So
this is it's one of those things where I my belief in Henry is generally speaking the way that running backs get stronger during a game. He gets
right,
that way over the course of a season because you've taken
right,
some hits, you start to wear down, and then this 270-pound barrel of 4-4 muscle comes running down.
right.
You don't want those problems.
This
You
Buffalo
don't want
defense
those
is,
problems.
yeah. I don't know if this is the game because this Buffalo team is real. That defense
Oh,
is
the
real.
Buffalo looks like probably the best team in football. Like
Oh yeah,
I don't think the Rams are that bad. Like
yeah. No, Buffalo's real. Buffalo's here for all types of pain. They want all smoke. They want to destroy everyone, and then they want to get to the Super Bowl and destroy everyone there too. I just, yeah, I don't know, man. I Josh throwing 6 touchdowns. I'm saying it. Josh is throwing 6 touchdowns Monday night. He's throwing six, yo.
I'll just say he's going to score four. I won't even say
No,
throw. Maybe he'll
nah,
throw two, run two.
nah. He's got
Look,
six.
look.
Prime time, Josh. Again, he's about to go nuts. He's insane. I'm irrational with my Josh this year. I've seen all I need to see. I've seen
Fair
all I need to
enough.
see, bro.
So we're all in on the wide receivers, obviously, and Josh. And if you have Knox, you're probably going to start Knox.
Start Singletary. Singletary looks
I
good for me.
that was my question: is are you confident in him, and is he at a point where he is only a flex consideration, or if he's your RB2, you feel okay about going into this
It all
week?
depends on what your team looks like, but if he's RB2 for you with a stacked wide receiver core, good quarterback, I think it'll be fine. I think you'll be fine
Fair
with it
enough. Fair
because that
enough.
offense is always
I
going to be in the red zone. They're always going to be close for scoring, and
so
he
I
can get
need
enough
to throw
production to get
this.
there.
I need to throw this out there. I grabbed him in one league, one of my deeper leagues. 6 targets for Zach Moss last week. Just something to keep an eye on. I would
James
not be
Cook,
playing him.
James Cook
I
fumble,
James Cook fumbled
probably
on
makes
his
it.
first touch.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, I think
This
he
is
is
a
the most
team. Yeah,
talented back, but this team's trying to win a Super Bowl. They don't have
right.
time for training wheels. Like
You have to earn your spot on this team.
they are here to make sure that if they lose in the playoffs, it is not outside of upstate New York. They don't
Right.
want to go anywhere
Nowhere. Nowhere. Because
because those fans, they are
I
home for the playoffs.
they're going to the
I
Super
don't know
Bowl.
who's beating them there. So
No one.
they are here to win games. They are not throwing
No one.
away weeks trying to hold hands for a rookie running back. I'm just saying, 6 targets for any running back, it's something to pay attention to,
It's a
especially if
lot.
you're in a deeper league. From a PPR standpoint, I am of the mind that there is a path, and I don't see this happening, but there is a
Mhm.
path based on what I saw week one for Zach Moss to be what you think Ramondre Stevenson is
Ramondre
going to be for
Stevenson
New
is
Orleans
okay.
and New England. And just in terms of role, where it's like, okay, maybe a 40% share of the carries, but if you are also the primary pass catching running back in
Okay.
a very good offense as opposed to a more mediocre offense in New England, there's value to that. So it's something to watch for. Don't go play him. Do not plug him into your flex and then blame me
Yeah.
when he gets you 7 points. I'm just saying it's something to watch for. And if you have the space on the end of your bench, there are worse flyers to take and wait a week or two to see if it becomes anything.
There are. The only reason I don't disagree. I only disagree that
James
it's
Cook is coming.
worth doing it. One, James Cook is coming, and two, they push the ball downfield. So like having a
They
pass
do.
catching back that they did.
But
But
but if they're up 38-0, like you say, at a certain point, you're like, hey, you know what? Let's not put Josh in harm's way. Let's hand
let's
this
see
ball
how
off.
Zach can do this
Little
year.
swing
Yeah,
passes.
that
Yeah,
makes sense.
you know what I mean. I could just see him.
Hmm.
Look, Eckler last night, where he was kind of all day, and then the last few drives kind of picked it up. I
Yeah,
could
get him the
see it
rock.
from a different game script situation where Zach Moss just kind of eats in the fourth quarter, nobody notices, and he gets 12
I think
points.
that's
It's
fair.
just something to watch. It's something to watch. That's all.
I think that's fair. Final game of the week: Minnesota at Philly. This is going to be fun. because
Best game of the week. This is the best game of the week. In terms of matchup of two teams, this is
Cousins,
good.
Jefferson, Dalvin,
How do you
Jefferson
feel about
prime
Thielen?
time at
How do you feel
Philly.
about
I
Thielen?
I think Thielen has a very good game this week. A very good something, 690 touchdown. A nice Adam Thielen game, get himself back, showing that he's not washed up yet.
So,
I like everyone in this game. I like every
so
single
for both sides or just for
for
Minnie?
both sides. I mean, I
Because
love AJ Brown.
I was gonna ask about Miles Sanders,
I like Miles Sanders here because you saw me on the touches. I didn't realize he had that many touches last week.
which was the
Um,
one thing we talked about in the summer was will he get the touches? I think it
if
was
he gets the
very
touches, I
encouraging
think
that
he's
he got
fine.
this number of touches. I
I
think that's
hate
very
what they do
encouraging.
at the goal line. I hate it. It makes me nauseous what they do at the goal line. If I was like Boston Scott from the one, Gainwell from the one, Miles Sanders from the one, just pick a guy and let him be your guy, bro. But they're not going to. They're going to do whatever they want. And then Hertz is going to have his goal line and stuff at two. That's going to be annoying for a running back owner here. But you start Miles Sanders. I think Devontae Smith comes back and he starts to be a little bit more productive here. But this is AJ
Well, he
Brown's
can't be less productive. He can't be
he
less
can be.
productive. Like, quite like.
Roll damn tide. Come on, Devontae. You look wild out here.
So I didn't rewatch that game. I didn't watch it closely enough on Sunday, so it's hard for me to say other than just looking at the bare bones numbers. But I want to look into whether he was open and just not getting opportunities, or whether for whatever reason he hasn't progressed. I tend to lean on he runs good routes, so he's going to be fine. Generally speaking, if you know how to get open, your quarterback will get you the ball. But AJ Brown looks like he is going to be a real force.
A true
And
force. Yep.
if he's getting targets to the point that you want 5, 6 targets a week from Devontae Smith, that's what you want. I mean,
You
you'd
do.
want more, but that's what you can reasonably expect. If
Right.
for whatever reason that becomes 3 to 4 targets,
You can't play him. You
you
can't play
can't
him.
play him. So this is a very interesting week. I have no problem with playing him, but I can't say I do so confidently.
Right. Agreed. Justin Jefferson. I just want to talk about Justin Jefferson's week one. Good lord.
Insane. He is so good at football. He is so good at football.
Devontae
He's
said, "Calm down. I'm still that guy." But Jefferson said, "I'm on your ass. Like I'm coming, bro." Like as far as the best all around wide receiver in the league, that's still Devontae. To me today, it's still Devontae. I've seen it for
so
long enough. But
when you
damn,
say
Jefferson.
it's so hard not to say Devontae just because of the track record and how long he's done it.
That's all I'm saying.
But then I watched the game and he's being
Jefferson's
covered by one of the best cornerbacks in the league.
he's
And it is
cooked.
so obvious that he can't cover him at all. He wasn't going against a bad defense. He wasn't going against a bad secondary.
They're gonna put Bradbury on him
And
on
he
Monday night,
cooked.
and
He's
he's
going to
gonna
cook
cook
Bradbury. He's going
Bradbury.
to cook
He's
Bradbury.
gonna destroy Bradbury. If any, I know Bradbury.
I
I like him. He's fine.
He's going to cook that
He's
man.
going to
Justin
destroy
Jefferson,
Bradbury.
I think he is the safest bet in fantasy week to week.
Mm, him or Cup. Him or Cup. Cup
Pull
is
up John Cup. No, so that's like a 1A 1B situation. That to be
yeah.
fair, like I don't want to disrespect Cup in any way because he's just so insanely productive. But it
Jefferson
looks
doesn't
different
need
with
the same
Jefferson. I don't
volume.
know. It sounds stupid.
Jefferson
It
doesn't
looks
need
different.
the same volume. If Jefferson got the same value as Cooper Cup, he would average 200 yards. That's how good I think Justin Jefferson is.
But I feel very good about me. I feel very good about my prediction that he hits 2,000 yards
2,000.
this year. I'll just
Yep.
leave it at that. I feel very good
Yep.
about that
Yep.
prediction.
Yep.
2,000 yards. Like he
2,000.
looks different.
2,000 might be conservative. Like he just looks like he's
I'm not going
playing
to
at
go
a
that
different
far.
speed.
I'm gonna.
He looks.
He
They're gonna throw so much, man.
they
They're gonna
can't
throw the
they can't
ball so
cover him.
much. That's what I'm
and
saying.
he has a quarterback who understands that they can't cover him and acts accordingly, which I
Right.
appreciate. Like certain times you're just like, why don't you just keep giving him the ball? He's that guy. Kurt knows where
Because
his
it's just
bread
like,
is
okay,
buttered. He's like, nah, I'm gonna keep
yeah,
getting these checks.
I
Like,
got
nah, he's
you.
like, oh, that dude that they can't cover, I'm gonna keep throwing it to him. I'm just gonna keep
Justin, I
throwing it to
got
him.
you. Justin,
As
I
he
got you,
should.
bro.
As
As
he
he should.
absolutely should.
That's it, man. That's the week.
Are
Everything
you
that
at
we said. Go ahead. What's
wait.
up?
One more on Minnesota. Are
What
you
up?
at all
Worried
concerned
about
is too
Dalvin?
strong a word, he's gonna be good? Yeah, I'm just asking. Like, I'm ready to chalk it up to it's 1 week. He's one of the best players out there. He's going to be fine. But the usage was something to at least look at. That's all.
He had
That's all.
108 yards total. Like he got, he had his yards from scrimmage. I just think that ceiling is much lower because Jefferson. I can't stress how good I think Justin Jefferson is going to be. And when somebody is like,
Like
it's
he's a
not.
tornado in that offense.
We see these things like we saw it last year with Cooper Cup, and we didn't see that coming. We kind of saw this coming, and we're going to see the manifestation of someone who is more physically talented than Cooper Cup get that same Cooper Cup treatment.
That's fair.
And it's
That's
going,
fair.
it's
That's absolutely
and
fair.
and I think it caps what Dalvin's going to do because I think Jefferson is going to score enough from 30 yards out, 25 yards out that you're not going to be at the 1 yard line a whole lot.
So what's going to be very interesting is what their red zone offense looks like this week and moving forward.
Agreed.
Because if Dalvin isn't scoring a lot of touchdowns from in close,
It drops him.
I think that his
It drops
it
him.
does.
It just does.
It does. I just don't
Because
think
some
he's going to get
guys
the
don't
touches
don't
he's
need
gotten
super goal
previously.
line work. Christian McCaffrey is not a guy who needs to have goal line work to put up big time points. He's shown that his volume is
Well,
going to do that.
Dalvin hasn't always been either. Like he's obviously he scores touchdowns, but
Yeah,
generally Dalvin just gotten the sort of volume where he's so
yeah.
good that he's going to produce.
In
I
this
just don't know
offense,
that the
he
volume's
needs to
going to
score
be there
touchdowns.
because Justin Jefferson really is that good. He's just
Yeah,
that good.
we're not joking. Like it's going to look like it did last week a lot this year. It's going to look like this on Monday night. Primetime
It could be
Jefferson.
a
There's going to be
triple.
a lot of
It could
points.
be. Look, I don't know about touchdowns, but yards and catches with Cup, we'll see. That's going to be really close. But yards, I don't think anybody's going to mess with Jefferson this year. I don't think
Nope,
anybody's going to be close.
nope. I don't see it. I don't see it. That's the week for us, man. We get you ready. We touched on everything there. We appreciate y'all checking in, man. Let's go get another win. Let's get off the snide. Let's not go 0-2. Let's do good things. Let's stay undefeated. Let's go 2-0. We're here to make sure you do great things and
Exactly.
hopefully just not against us, man. We'll see y'all again soon. Appreciate y'all as always. First place Giants. Let's go ahead and stay in first place, man. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much, Saquon. Saquon, thank you.
I hate Jerry
Saquon, thank
Jones
you.
and his entire family. I dislike them
Saquon.
people. All of them.
I'm ending it on
Grandkids,
that.
nieces, nephews, all of them. I'm being so damn serious.